Hi, and welcome to the SJ Childs Show. I'm your host, SJ Childs, and today I have a really great guest, Matt Jackson, who is coming to you from Utah, where I'm also at. We're neighbors across the valley. Hi, Matt.
Hello, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here today. I'm really excited to talk about and educate our listeners on the wonderful services that you provide for families and especially for children. So let's just jump right in. Tell us where you are at and a little bit about yourself.
So I am a upper cervical chiropractor and I'm based in Salt Lake City, specifically Mill Creek. So if you're familiar with the Salt Lake Valley, Salt Lake could be a lot of places. I'm kind of in the center off 4500 south and about 500 east. So right off state, right off the highway. And yeah, based right there. And what was your second question?
Oh, just you got it. I think you covered it all.
Okay. Okay, awesome.
That's great. And tell us what kind of services you provide there as a chiropractor.
So a really small backstory, and I'll keep it
Yeah.
short too, because I can talk about myself all day as well. When I was in chiropractic school, I didn't have I didn't go to chiropractic school knowing it was my life calling. I hadn't been a patient with the miracle experience. I hadn't had a family member. I hadn't shadowed it. I had gotten a bachelor's in exercise physiology, and I knew I needed to go to grad school. So I looked at physical therapy, occupational therapy, prosthetics, chiro, a few of them. And at the end of the day, chiropractic won out. I felt like all the tangibles lined up with what I wanted in a career. Cool. Then I actually got into it. And about a year into school, I was struggling a little bit because I didn't quite know what my niche was going to be because I didn't have a background. And I was a little panicking that I had made a poor choice and I was going to have to get out of school, take the debt, and just walk away. One of the things I was struggling with chiropractic was I wanted to know when my patient was objectively getting results. Not just that they're feeling better, but I wanted to be able to show the improvement was happening. And I wanted to be able to know that a care plan with a patient had an end date. And I just wasn't getting those answers. And so going through school, and then a conference came to Dallas where I was going to this school, and the conference was an upper cervical spine emphasis. And I thought, okay, these are saying some of the buzzwords I was interested in. Went and sat through it, and everything was just green light. They talked about how to know that you're getting your patient well, how to know that ethically you can feel confident, promising, and kind of assuring certain things. And it resonated with me because my personal goal was I wanted to know that I was treating the root cause, not just the symptoms.
I love that.
So that's kind of how I got into this upper cervical specialty. Now, I still do full spine work because there's still a lot of things that are corrected via full spine adjustments, but my specialty, I've done so many hundreds of hours of training outside of school in this upper cervical emphasis. That's really where I shine. And because of that, it has unlocked certain patients for chiropractic that I think they're better candidates for care versus with traditional chiropractic.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Definitely. No, and I want to get into that too because I agree. And I think that knowing when you go somewhere that you can get a plan, I think that is so important. And I really like that you said that because I think that oftentimes people are so afraid, oh, I'm going to have to go forever. If I sign up for this one time, I'm going to have to go forever. This is going to be a lifelong money out of my pocket kind of thing. And people drag their feet, right? They're afraid to make that commitment. So I like that you say that because that gives people, okay, this is, going to be something that I can look forward to stopping. And not that they wouldn't want to come and see you, of course, but
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's great to know that there's an end plan. I really like that.
And, when it comes to things like dealing with kids and adults on the spectrum, right? It is tough because rarely does a treatment have okay, you are done. You no longer need anything. It is typically downgraded to kind of a wellness plan. And so the way I liken it for some people is, look, consider you lived your life 25 years, never going to the dentist, never brushing your teeth. You're going to have to go to the dentist and get a boatload of services done. And then once you've completed that, then you just got to keep going every now and then to kind of keep things tuned up. And that's realistically what most people end up doing, is we complete this kind of acute phase of care. And then at that point, we've kind of learned, hey, patient X does really well getting adjusted once a month, once every 3 months, once a week. And we've kind of found that sweet spot, and that's what we transition to.
That's
versus like you said, hey, twice a week till the day you die. Because also, let's be honest, if you have children, adults, spouses that are on the spectrum and dealing with this, you're already tapped. You know, you are spending money on so many services, and I try to be very respectful of that and aware of that. And I'll tell you too, if in our initial exam and conversation, it doesn't seem like it's a good fit, and I'm not going to actually be able to help what you're trying to, correct, I'm just going to tell you, and I'll help refer you elsewhere, because you don't have the time or money to waste on me.
Oh, I think that that's so compassionate of you to look at these families, because families with kids and adults on the spectrum, it is overload of services and support systems. And also the fact that you address that you're not a one-stop shop, that there's not the all, get all, tell all here, that it's a piece of the puzzle. It's a part of it. It's a wellness plan, like you said, which encompasses so many other parts of wellness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. What type of, tell us about the early ages. We'll kind of go through age groups and discuss what can you do as far as what's the earliest age that you can help a child, and we'll go to kind of, elementary school, and then we'll go to teens and kind of go through that. What do you think what is that for you? What's the youngest age you've worked on?
I've adjusted babies that are day old. It starts from day one. So a lot of the most common questions I'm asked by every kind of patient base that I have in my office, because I don't just see kids on the spectrum or anything like that. I see a lot of other heavy cases, and they ask, well, when does this start? I'm like, look, I wish I had a great answer for you, because it could be a number of areas, but birth, I'm going to tell you, birth is easily one of the biggest, because when you think about the birth process, whether it's vaginal or a cesarean delivery, I don't know if you ever watched a birth. It's a very traumatic, get baby out of mom kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
And the amount of pressure that is put onto that baby's neck, it's ironic, because when you have a newborn and you go to the family party and you're showing off the baby and you hand the baby off to your nephew to hold, the first thing you say to that nephew is, okay, you got to hold the neck. Okay, hold the neck very carefully, right? First of all, what's going to happen to that little kid holding the baby wrong with his neck? Nothing really. Like that neck you can't, neck you can't really hurt the kid when he's sitting on the couch. But 2 days prior, when that baby was getting pulled out of mom, how much pressure was that neck having put on it as a linchpin? And is there anyone that's immediately going in and checking the alignment of that C1 and C2? Not at all. No. So then you start to have little ones develop, and I have a photographer that sends me a lot of referrals, because she takes pictures, and I've kind of taught her that, hey, if you have a newborn that when they sit in their car seat, or they sit and they only tilt their head to the left, and then you have to manually kind of pivot their head to the right, and they just flip it back to the left. Yeah, it's cute, but that's also a sign of a alignment problem. They functionally can't pivot their head the way they're supposed to.
And then that's bad for muscles growing and all kinds of stuff.
You talk about like aesthetic look, you talk about latch issues. I mean, like, so anyways, to not ramble too on about that, from day one, I can assess a little one. And here's the next thing people always say, they clutch their pearls and, oh my gosh, you're adjusting a baby. You're gonna hurt it. And no, 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 no. Baby adjustments are extremely gentle.
Yeah.
It's almost like applying a light pressure with your fingertip, but it's knowing where to apply that pressure and how long and how to check before and after the adjustment took place.
Yeah.
So it starts at day one and it works its way up through, young, I don't know the terms, toddler, uh, post toddler.
Yeah, right. Adolescence.
It's all fair game as to when you can begin checking for those alignment issues. Totally.
Yeah. Now, what type of correlation do you think, and this is like a little off topic, not really, I mean, because you're the chiropractor, but for, say, our son, he has, he doesn't have any issues, we think, but we still need to come in and check and see, what can be achieved, right? And things like that. One of the questions I think that sometimes people ask is, well, can it negatively affect our child, right? I think that that's probably a fair question. What
That's
types
a
of
good
things
question.
what kind of, how do you answer that for parents?
Can an adjustment negatively impact my child? That's a good question. I've actually never been asked that. And
I do, I am a little bit of an outsider, so
no, that's a
bring
good
the outside
question,
questions in, right? That's
I
great.
also don't want to just biasly say like, no, 100%, it's always the best thing for you.
Yeah.
I think I am yet to see a negative impact from adjustments being given to kids. I think maybe the only negative thing that could happen is they're going to experience changes, and it's sometimes like it's the evil that you know that's easier to handle. Not that evil is the right word in this, but like sometimes you know how to handle what you already are dealing with.
Yeah.
And if something new is introduced, maybe that's almost too stressful for the family or the individual to have to cope with, and I'd rather leave it with what it is for now versus maybe making things a little harder. But the only reason it'd be a little harder is because change is now occurring versus an individual living kind of compensated.
Interesting.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really great way to answer that, because I mean, I am a massage therapist, so I completely agree with, I worked for a chiropractor for a long time. So I 100%, agree with the practices and everything like that. And I've obviously seen the good and the progress and the how much it has saved people and things in my my own experience. What type of like when a special needs family wants to reach out to you, what type of process, I mean, do they usually say, oh, what brings them to you usually? Do you get that? Like, where do they usually find you? From referrals?
Okay, are you speaking?
Like
okay, I was like, are you almost like a marketing effect or like? So prior to COVID, I worked aggressively to kind of build up a patient base that was, probably a third at least of my practice was this patient, demographic. But since COVID, I stopped everything because a lot of the families are, hey, we already have immune issues. We got to play it real safe. So now that the world is opening back up, I'm ramping up my efforts to get myself out there, whether it's with presentations, talks like this. So a lot of it is word of mouth from kind of older patients previous patients that I've had that have been in the office, and then just external efforts that I can make. And here's the thing too, like we were talking a little bit about this, and I meant to say this offline. One of the things I hear constantly, and it just kind of bugs the heck out of me because it means I'm not doing a good enough job, is I wish I had heard about this sooner.
Oh yeah.
Is that I had wished this existed, because chiropractic is super known. Chiropractic for a lot of these issues is super known, but this niche of upper cervical chiropractic is not very well known. It is not connected to spectrum disorders. And treatment's not the right word, because with a lot of these disorders, treatment meaning resolution, not really what I mean, probably not going to happen, but also not mentally, not emotionally, but like, that's also saying there's something wrong with these kids that needs to be fixed. And we're not about that,
That's
right?
not the case.
We are about helping them become the best version of themselves.
I like that.
And you know, how far we go is super unique to the patient. And so referrals, and then any efforts I can pour to
events and things like that.
To make that known, and then just kind of helping people to have that, hey, come check it out. You know, one of the things that I've worked hard with my office too is that may be different. I'm looking around now to kind of double check, like, for the most part, I want my office to feel like a place where parents can bring these kids maybe, and they don't have to just monitor them constantly that they're going to destroy something.
Yeah, that's really important for families to kind of have that safe place for kids to feel, that they're not like, oh no, don't touch. Pressure
I don't
on
have my practice set up so the patient slots are so back to back that, okay, come on in, good, okay, I need you to listen, I need you to listen. It's not built like that. It's meant to have time so that if the little one is having a stress day, because let's be real, if you're going to the chiropractor, you're getting punched in the neck, you know, that might not be something that day is a good thing for that little one. And we're not going to rush. We're going to take time to help them feel comfortable with me, with the table, with the whole process. And if we need to say, hey, today's appointment was all about building trust, let's see you tomorrow, and we can try again tomorrow for the actual adjustment. That's okay too.
I like that.
Because
tell us right tell us a little bit about the adjustment and maybe some of the effects that it has, the positive effects that it can have.
So I have a big presentation I do. That was probably my biggest tool. Was I did a workshop in my office. It's about an hour and a half, geared for parents, educators, providers, about all the possible benefits of chiropractic and all that stuff. So kind of like simplified down, some of the effects are, it not only restores alignment in a very delicate part of your neck that protects an important part of your brainstem, it plays a role, more importantly, neurologically, right? We're familiar with the sympathetic, parasympathetic, and getting adjustments and then using the testing that we use in this office to show that the adjustment actually did its job. We can measure pre and post to show that the body has switched to a more parasympathetic, healing, resting state of being, where now the body can actually recover, right? When you're in that sympathetic, you're revving constantly. There's a brick on the gas pedal, and people usually use the analogy of, oh, a tiger comes in your door and you have to survive. So now you're fight or flight, right? No. Fight or flight means that you've turned off saliva in your mouth because you're not worried about breaking down your starches. Okay, that's a big deal. It turns off processing food. It turns off bowel movements. Those are all really important things to do on a daily basis. Yeah, when I'm running from a tiger, I'm not chewing my food. But what if I'm a little kid and I'm constipated for days on end, and we're looking at, oh, do I need X-Lax? Do I need,
medicine, right?
We're looking at all these things to try to treat the constipation. But what if neurologically there's something going on that is keeping that little one stuck in that sympathetic state where the body is saying, do not go to the bathroom, do not process food, do not sweat or sweat too much. So it regulates sympathetic, parasympathetic, and the cascade effect of body functions that is in each of those columns.
Yeah.
So it's massively important. On top of that, one of my favorite stories, and I'll keep it quick because, again, I could talk with you for a year. One of my really favorite stories was a woman came to one of my workshops. Her little one had childhood or infantile seizures. And so her brain just had massive holes in it from the traumas. And her speech was delayed. Her signs were slow. and she really was just not thriving. She was very unhappy little one. After about a month of care, she went from learning one sign a month to one sign a week. She had stopped chewing holes in her clothes and in her blanket, because when kids chew on their uh, collars and chew on their sleeves, that's their body craving a vestibular feedback.
Sensory. Mm-hmm.
And so she had stopped destroying her clothes and her blankets, and her personality had shifted with her brothers to a more happy, kind of docile little one. And all we did was correct a C1 issue, and that put her body into that parasympathetic recovery stage versus response stage.
What are some symptoms that parents could look for in their children to know that they might be having some of these issues and to be able to reach out to you?
I think I have a little ebook that kind of walks through. So let me find that slide, because that slide on the parasympathetic, pupils that are dilated or constricted, too much, too little saliva, rapid heart rate, constipation, wetting the bed, big one. Even things like walking on their toes.
Yeah.
Toe walking is a big one. And then I'm trying to think of ones that are nonverbal that patients can kind of, because the verbal aspect is tough.
Yeah.
But those are physiologically some of the biggest signs.
Wow.
And then verbally, any sort of pain, inability to sleep, struggling to fall asleep, stay asleep. I mean, those are some of the biggest. And honestly, I think if mom had a tough birth, that would be a good sign to come in and get a eval.
Yeah, good thinking. I think that that's a really, really great way to look at it, because that puts a lot of parents probably at ease to know that they can get a sense of their child starting out well, right? And beginning their life on a good step.
There are numerous studies that have showed that again, not to harp on it, and not to harp on medical doctors for saying, oh, you guys did damage when you're getting the baby out. No. Their job is to get baby out, get alive, keep mom alive, all that stuff. And
how we learn a better way, right?
and to be fair too, not every birth is traumatic. There's been a huge shift to creating a more I think peaceful experience, for sure. But there have been numerous studies that have shown that initial birth process causes trauma in 8 out of 10 kids to that upper cervical spine. Yeah. And the younger they are, the easier they are to correct that issue versus later in life.
Are there any tips that you give families for like exercises at home that are good for their kids? What's a good idea of things like that you might tell families?
Kind of depends a little bit on the abilities of the little one. How aware are they and able to do certain things. Screen time's a big one. I mean, that is just how kids are entertained now, phones and tablets.
Yeah.
And so spending their life looking just downward at their tablet or phone is going to cause strain to their ligament, to that part of their neck. And it's going to eventually weaken the muscles on their back. It's going to weaken the muscles on their chest. And as they age, they're going to have this kind of rolled in turtle posture that we're starting to see. And so if you can somehow help your kids to raise up that tablet or phone, have them put it on a shelf when they play, they need to maybe sit on the ground and put the tablet up on the couch so it's eye level versus strained down. Those are some simple ones. And again, when a parent and a family comes in for care, we assess the problem, we come up with a plan, and I try not to overwhelm because there's a lot that can be. But after a few visits, when we kind of have our groove based on the individual needs, I'll start walking through some custom stretches, exercises, things that they can do at home to help the adjustments last longer, if you will.
Good. Yeah, definitely. That's great.
But
go ahead.
No. I think screen time or just proper screen.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and that's funny you said that because I can picture my son. I think he does things a lot like out of regulation, like he does it for himself. And so I'll go in and he'll have his phone on the floor and be laying on his bed looking out onto the ground on playing like that. And so that's kind of funny that he's come up with his own system to not have to be in a crunch, or something
That's
like
a
that.
that's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How funny is that? So good for him. Good for him for having
for
that
real.
on his own mind, right? Well, I think that the it's so great what you can do to help people out. Now, what about some of your older patients? Maybe some, geriatric or parents. What kind of help or what kind of tips do you give them for better better life?
So, like I said, probably in a perfect world, a third of my patient base would be spectrum disorders. And then the other 2/3 are typically migraine headache, vertigo, dizziness, insomnia, fibromyalgia,
Mm,
uh, chronic issues.
I'm glad we talked about that. Yeah.
Definitely chronic issues, neuropathy, stuff like that. Things that people have typically, they've gone to neurologists, they've gone to general practitioners, they've kind of ran the gamut of providers and medications, and they've gone, okay, shoot, nothing's helping. I am not sure what to do. Boom, that's where I shine.
I
Like
love that.
those patients are my bread and butter. Those conditions that I mentioned, very rarely are we not able to see a massive improvement to the quality of life and to those symptoms. And so when same thing, regardless if it's spectrum, regardless if it's one of those, labels, headaches, same outline. I'm going to come in, do an initial exam, x-ray, thermographic testing, look at your lifestyle, look at the age of the patient, the activity, the quality, all those factors come up with a custom care plan. And then from there, like I have some, I don't have to tell them anything because they're super active, they're flexible, they're drinking water, they're sleeping. Drinking water is maybe the stupidest thing I have to tell people, but it is shocking how many times when I'm going through some paperwork with a new patient and I ask them, so tell me about your water, and it's 1 to 2 cups a day. And
Wow.
I think, look, um, I don't know how to explain this any better. Your cells are full of water. Your cells make up tissues. Your tissues make up your organs. And then your organs have healthy function or poor function. So if you want to improve function, you got to give them the building blocks.
Yeah,
You need
definitely.
to be drinking 64 ounces should be the like utter bare minimum.
That's
Um,
interesting. No, I'm sure
so
most people don't do that.
no, and people get excited when they're focusing on healthcare, meaning, okay, I'll go buy all this stuff, I'll buy all the supplements, and I'm like, no, 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 no. Let's start off simple first, okay? You're already paying money to see me. Let's not throw everything at it. Let's get you sleeping, let's get you moving your body, and let's get you drinking water.
Yeah.
You do those 3 things for like 2 weeks, and then we can talk about some more advanced vitamin D,
Yeah.
high intensity exercises versus ballistic exercise, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because if we're not doing the easy stuff, we're going to crash and burn with the hard stuff.
Do you personally go to the Water Wellness Center up there in Mill Creek?
I love those guys.
I do
Yes.
too. I love them. We have it out in West Valley, and that's the only water we drink. So I'm getting those
trying
guys
to
on the
figure
show.
out a way to, yes, water wellness is great. The options they have, I'm trying to figure out. I need to probably just spend some money. I'm being cheap. I just need to go spend some money, buy one of their massive jugs and put it in
Coolers.
my office, and do
Yeah,
something like that. I haven't
exactly.
yet, but I need to, because
Yeah, it's the best.
water quality does make a difference, just like anything else.
It's been 5 years since we have had a drink out of our tap. So we haven't drank tap or anything for over 5 years now. And our kids, our son with autism, that's all he drinks is clear water.
Incredible.
Pure water every day. He doesn't, I mean, the other day we had, stopped and got a root beer for the first time in the whole pandemic. It was our first time going out since then. So it was crazy because it's been, 18 months since we've gone anywhere. And the kids got a root beer and he just was like, eh.
Wow.
He likes his water. He wants his water and he loves it. And so, yeah, I have a great relationship with those guys at the Water Wellness Center.
I think it's, I think it's funny. And I think people kind of look at me like, come on, dog, give me something a little bigger. And I think, look, I'm just telling you, of all the possible things you could do,
Yep.
those simple ones, easiest and will have the greatest impact.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that I touched on that. Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
We have to do a dual show where we have them all together, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
And even just movement, they start thinking, do I have to go to Vasa? Do I need to have a certain workout because I'm overweight, because I'm underweight? I'm like, look, movement, go outside, have a walk and again, this is depending on the health. Because I have, like you asked, I have people that are in their 80s. Obviously, I don't want them, if they're not physically able to, out there doing jogs.
Yeah, exerting
themselves. I have plenty of patients that are much older, and everything is scaled for sure. And so it's built around them. It's not a one fit. You need to fit in my plan. It's okay. Here are all my options. Let me find the right one for you.
I love that. That's really great. Well, before we end today, let's definitely talk about your event coming up so we can get you some promotion on that.
So there's a really cool conference here called the Energy Healing Conference. I'll give them a little plug.
Love that.
It's been put on for years now. They have a few that they will usually, depending on the year, do one in North Utah, Salt Lake, Southern Utah, and they have everything that is, quote, weird or alternative health.
Mystical, we like to call it in our home.
I'm just going to tell you, I had a mentor tell me this once and I loved it. He said, when did chiropractic and all this stuff become alternative health? Because this is working with natural things. Yeah. Alternative health is the fabricated, manufactured medicine.
That's the truth.
So
that is
Energy
interesting.
Healing Conference is alternative health, but it's everything from chiropractic to Reiki to foot zoning to crystals. There's a huge gamut of offerings. Not only are there numerous vendors, there are presentations. I think they have 6 or 7 kind of classrooms that will be going for about 10 hours a day.
Wow.
I'm speaking at one of them. And so wonderful. I have one. It's a 45-minute presentation. It's kind of my presentation I give, scaled down. And it's called Upper Cervical Chiropractic plus Autism. Because, again, I want to get this message out there that, look, I don't care if you decide I'm not a good fit for you. I want you to at least have had the option of knowing it exists and just knowing about it. And then you can decide yay or nay. So I'm speaking. It's on June 19th at 2:00. I have some free tickets to the event. And so if people are interested, they can reach out.
And where's it going to be held?
It's at, I always call it the wrong name. It's at the Expo Center.
Okay, whatever. Okay, good. The one on 90th and State.
Whatever it is.
Perfect.
I think it's Mountain America.
Yeah, right? Whatever company has bought it since then.
It really is. Like, it's the one by the theater.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Well, I'm so excited that we got to talk about that. And I definitely, I might just have to come over there and go.
It's a blast.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Like I said, I'm a former massage therapist, so I completely love all of those things and Reiki and all.
They have
the whole thing.
I think they have a holistic dentist that's going to talk about stuff like everything that's, and again, I think people that are dealing with spectrum issues are much more open to those kinds of approaches and hearing it out. So I think it's a perfect fit.
Well, and let's make sure to maybe put a thing up in the Facebook group too, in our group, so that we can get all of those members to go and support you as well. So that's wonderful. Well, Matt, I am so happy to have you on today to connect with you. I just love that we've been able to make this connection because we've talked before, and that's great. Where can people find you? Give us your websites and your again, tell maybe your address where you're at.
So again, my name is Matt Jackson. My practice is Elevation Chiropractic Center. If you hop on Google, you can read my reviews. You can find my website. My website is elevationcenterutah.com. If you go on there, I believe my ebook is on there, so you can download it for yourself. and check it out. You can read about what this upper cervical approach is. And again, this website has a lot of things on there. Everything is scalable. So let's say you go, well, gosh, you need x-rays. My kid is not going to hold still for x-rays. That's okay. I've had hundreds that have not had x-rays, and we've done other things.
Yeah.
And so elevationcenterutah.com is our website. You can hit me up on Instagram at Dr. Matt Jackson. And normally a new patient exam, because people always ask, like, well, how do I do business with you? How do I hear you out?
Yeah.
A new patient exam is $150. It covers the exam, the x-rays, the first adjustment. And in that appointment, we'll come up with kind of a care plan going forward.
Perfect.
But if you mention, let's do a little fun. If you mention, hey, I listened to you on the SG Childs show, we'll just go ahead and waive that exam cost for you.
Wow.
So instead of $150, it'll be $399, and we'll just have a conversation and go from there. So
hey, that sounds great. I think that's a really great idea. Wonderful. So, yeah. And I'll of course have all those links down in the description, so you know where to find Matt. Dr. Jackson, pardon me.
Oh yes, please.
And also, go and check out his office, the Elevation Chiropractic Clinic, and also, visit his website and check out the ebook to learn more about upper cervical chiropractic adjustments and learn about the neurological processes that it can help and all of the good stuff that comes along with it. Thank you so much for your time today, Matt.
You're welcome. It's been my honor. I really, really do appreciate it.
Me too.
It's cool to share this and chat with you. And people, don't be afraid to reach out. Let's say you don't want an exam. You want to just pick my brain. Give me a call. Happy to chat with you.
I love that. I love that. We will definitely make sure all your contact info is there so people can reach out. And thank you so much. We'll definitely be in contact. And please check out the Energy Healing Convention at the Salt Lake City Convention Center, Mountain America, whatever it is, on June 19th, 2 p.m. Matt will be there giving his presentation. Check out all the other cool vendors that will be in the actual healing instead of holistic healing, right? And well, that's wonderful. Yeah, I think that's kind of a funny thing, alternative, right? Oh, silly gooses.
For real.
We need to look at all the languages. The languages, it's a whole new episode we'll go over. Thanks for being here today, and you take care.
Yeah.
Kind of guy that keeps you warm at night when you are cold. I'll grab some blankets from my bed, wrap them around your chest, and I'll pull you close. We'll flip some channels to find out there's nothing on right now to ease your mind. Sit back, relax, there is no rush, no need to speed things up. All we have is time to think about the future, forget about the past. Time to figure out a way to make this moment last. To make this moment last. To make this moment last. The kind of love that we've been dreaming of when we sleep at night. We'll get a little house to live in, have a couple kids, and we'll sleep tight. 'Cause baby, all we really need are just a couple things to stay alive, and everything else in between. Just trust my heart, you'll see. We're slowly coming. Time to forget about the past. Time to figure out a way to make this moment last. To make this moment last. To make this moment last. Mm-hmm. Sunrises, sunsets, I won't let you forget that I need you. Spring comes and spring goes, forever you will know that I love you. Sunrises, sunsets, I won't let you forget that I need you. Spring comes and spring goes, forever you will know that I love